Imagine playing Tomorrowland in Ushuaia when you're 21, releasing songs that hit over 100 million streams and traveling the world doing what you love. But deep down, you feel completely empty. That was me in 2017, and it's why I walked away from the music business. But this isn't just a story about leaving. It's a story about mental health, self-belief, and rediscovering your true purpose. Because after losing everything, from my career to all the money I made in music, I had to rebuild myself from scratch. And years later, music found me again. In this video, I want to share my journey. Why I left the music industry and even creating music, the years I spent lost chasing the wrong things, and how I finally came back. Not for fame, not for numbers, but because creating music is what I was meant to do. This is why I left the music business, and this is why I came back. Let's go back to the year 2017. The year I decided to leave the business. I just came off a few years of living my dreams. I released about 30 tracks on the biggest dance labels, released songs like Arcadia, Deja Vu and Zodiac that combined over 100 million streams back then. I played shows all over the world, from Tomorrowland to Ushuaia, from Asia tours to Europe tours. It was great on paper, but it didn't feel great. In 2016 I noticed the music I was making, big room EDM, wasn't as popular anymore as the years before. Not only me, but everyone around me was noticing it too. Getting booked and playing shows was not as easy anymore as the years prior. Keep in mind, at this time I was 22 years old and my mindset was completely different from my mindset now. Now I am 32 and have a much better understanding about life. Anyway, let's go back to the end of 2016. Because the big room sound wasn't as big anymore, I was told to do more radio and commercial stuff. This was also the time Spotify became a big thing, and for example Closer by the Chainsmokers was the most popular song in the world. I was, you can say desperately, trying to do the same kind of music. But you can already tell, for me it wasn't working, because I couldn't put my soul into it. So fast forward to a year later, summer 2017, my music wasn't being picked up that great anymore, and my shows weren't paying as much as I used to. So I had to travel alone all the time. Also was stressing a lot about being able to do any shows the months after. So I was looking into other ways to make money and found something that would truly change my life in both good and bad ways for the coming years. I discovered Bitcoin and crypto and I thought I had found the way out. Well, that turned out to be different. I went from extreme high highs to the lowest lows of my life. When 2018 started, I had quit doing shows and stopped making music for a few months already. It felt great at first because I didn't feel the pressure anymore of putting new music out every month. However, it all changed the year after. Having all your money in crypto and basically not knowing what you're doing brought me deep stress and sleepless nights. To make it worse, just a year later in 2019, I basically lost almost everything I had. So all the money I made from music, from touring in the past 5 years too. I was completely lost at this time. I gave up my music career for this life and I lost all money. And now we fast forward 2021. For the past years I was just trying stuff to make it work. Even went back to university for a few months. But of course it didn't work out. Now in 2021 I got the chance to come back in the music industry and was offered a job as A&R at Afrojack and Wall Recordings. This is the place where I got that itch again to start making music. I worked there for more than 2 years till the end of 2023 and I love to learn more about the business side of the music industry, something I didn't know anything about. Here I learned what royalties were, how music gets released, the marketing and basically all the work that goes into putting the music out to the world. Being surrounded by other artists all day and seeing them work in high-end studios inspired me to slowly start working on music again. Now fast forward 2024. I was not working at Afrojack anymore and one day I was just going through some music I made and showed my girlfriend something I made in the months before. She loved it and said, "Why don't you just release it on your own?" I never even thought about it. I thought it was never good enough to release it. So a month later, I did. And even though the song didn't do well in terms of streams, it was a big step towards releasing music again. Now we go a few months later to the end of 2024 and I mark this moment as the beginning of my comeback. In September 24, I was finally making music again on a daily basis after 6 or 7 years. When I got a text by Revealed asking me if I wanted to play during ADE at their Legacy vs Destiny event together with Kill the Boss and Mansa. I could not believe it. This couldn't be just a coincidence. The year I finally started making music again was also the year I got asked to do a show again. I will not talk here about fate or religion, but I surely know that this was meant to be. It was the perfect timing. Playing there really brought back so many memories and a feeling I hadn't felt in so long. My girlfriend was with me and she also felt the love we got from the EDM fans. That was the main reason I decided to fully focus on making music and the goal was to get a release on Revealed again. It still took me 6 more months and a lot of demos and rejections to get to the point of my first release, but it was so worth it. I feel like I'm finally back on the level again where I left in 2017, and maybe even better. I left the music business because I wasn't happy anymore, and I thought it had to do with making music and touring. But it was never the music part. It was the pressure of being in your 20s and thinking this had to be it. This was the only chance of living your dreams you will ever get. It was too much, so I had to get away for a few years. In those years up till now, I've learned so much about life, and now 8 years later, I realize the whole process of creating and making music is what makes me want to get out of bed in the morning. It is what I'm supposed to do in this life. So I can say with full confidence, I am back. If you've ever walked away from your passion, I hope my story shows that it's never too late to come back. Thanks for watching and make sure to subscribe if you want to follow this new chapter of my music journey. Imagine your favorite artist decided to quit after their first demo was rejected. That would suck, right? And what if I tell you every single successful artist you know has been rejected by a label at some point? The difference? Some quit and some use that rejection to level up. Rejection from a label isn't the end of your career, it's the start of your growth. And to prove it, I'm going to share how to handle rejection and my own story of being rejected by the same label that once released my biggest tracks. First, let's be real. Rejection stinks. You put weeks, maybe months into a song. You finally send it off, and then you get back that one line. Thanks, but it's not for us. That can crush you if you let it. And I know, because it happened to me. Last year, I decided to fully commit to producing again after being away from the scene for about 6 years. Sure, I made some tracks here and there, but not consistently. In 2024 I thought, let's go for it, let's sign some music again. I wasn't exactly a beginner. I'd spent over a decade producing and DJing and released around 30 tracks on some of the biggest dance labels and had over 200 million streams. Honestly, I thought coming back would be easy mode, but I was humbled real quick. The scene had changed. New, insanely talented producers were dominating. I realized I needed to step up my game. So I made some big room and EDM tracks, and after many years, I sent some music to Revealed, the label where I had released most of my songs back in the day. A week later I got the reply, thanks, but this isn't what we were looking for. And yeah, it hurt. Especially because I thought, this is the best I can do right now. But here's the thing, rejection always is an opportunity to grow. Back in the day, I handled rejection badly. I would get angry or I would get bitter. Sometimes I would even stop producing for a week out of anger. And that is the absolute worst thing you can do. This time, I let it sting for a couple of days and then I asked myself, what if they're right? What if I can do better? So I studied. I listened to what Revealed was actually releasing. I listened to Hardwell's live sets and I compared my own tracks. 2 months later, I had a new folder with fresh demos. And that work led to my first release of the comeback. Here's the truth. Rejection doesn't mean you're not good enough. It means you weren't ready yet for that label standard. And that standard means something, right? Otherwise you wouldn't be aiming to sign there in the first place. So instead of letting rejection kill your motivation, use it to raise your own bar. And remember, labels aren't the only path anymore. You've got tools, platforms and ways to build your audience directly. If you build momentum on your own, trust me, labels will notice. Every successful artist has a rejection story. Mine with Revealed pushed me to get better, and it can do the same for you. So don't quit. Don't let a no block your creativity. Rejection is not the end. It's redirection. It's feedback. It's fuel. The only real rejection is the one you give yourself when you quit. Everybody wants to make it in the music business. We dream about the big stage, the screaming fans, the streams going crazy. But here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Talent alone won't take you there. What actually separates the artists who quit from the artists who break through is just one thing. It's called grit. Today I'm breaking down the science of perseverance and passion from Angela Duckworth's book Grit and showing you exactly how it applies to your journey as an artist in the music business. If you've ever thought maybe I'm not talented enough or felt like this industry is impossible to break into, then this video is for you. By the end you will see why grit, not talent, is the #1 predictor of long-term success in the music. And once you understand that, you will know exactly how to approach your career differently. So what is grit? Angela Duckworth defines it as passion and perseverance for long-term goals. It's not just about working hard when you feel inspired. It's about showing up day after day, year after year, even when it's boring, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Think about your music career. Anyone can get hyped up for a few months, release a track, maybe play a couple of shows, but grit is what keeps you going when the crowd is small, when your Spotify streams are flat, and when your emails don't get answered. That's grit, choosing to keep moving forward anyway. A lot of people confuse passion with intensity. Passion isn't about burning yourself out or being obsessed every second of the day. In grit, passion means consistency of interest over time. In other words, do you keep coming back? Are you still writing, still rehearsing, still creating even years later? That's passion. It's not a quick spark of going viral. It's a slow burn that keeps you in the game long enough to build something real. And then there's perseverance. And this is the part most people underestimate. Perseverance means not quitting after your first failure or your 10th. Every single artist you admire has failed more than you probably realize. Ed Sheeran, he played to empty rooms for years. Lady Gaga got dropped from her first record label. The Weeknd released music online and got ignored for a very long time. But they didn't stop. They adapted, they improved, and they kept going. That's perseverance. And that's why they eventually broke through while others gave up. The writer also connects grit to something called a growth mindset. This is the belief that your abilities aren't fixed. They can grow with effort. For musicians, that shift is huge. Instead of thinking I'm not good enough, you say I'm not good enough yet. Every gig, every studio session, every practice is an opportunity to level up. Skills in music aren't handed to you. They are built. And the artists who understand that stick around long enough to see the results. Now here's the other piece of grit. Deliberate practice. It's not just about putting in hours. It's about practicing in a way that pushes you out of your comfort zone. Recording and listening back to your mistakes, writing dozens of songs knowing most won't make the cut, reworking the same verse until it finally clicks. It's frustrating, it's uncomfortable, but that discomfort is exactly what makes you better. That's grit, choosing the grind that leads to growth. Angela Duckworth even breaks it down with a simple formula. Talent times effort is skill, And skill times effort is achievement, which means effort counts twice. Just think about that. You don't need to be the most talented person in the room. If you put in consistent effort, you will build real skills. And then, when you apply those skills to the real world, your effort multiplies into achievement. That's why the hardworking artist, the one who keeps grinding, almost always outlasts the naturally talented artist who gives up when it gets hard. So how do you actually build grit in your own music career? Here are 5 takeaways. Number 1. Define your higher purpose. Why do you make music? To tell your story? To connect with people? To inspire? That purpose will keep you steady when things get tough. Number 2. Fall in love with the process. Don't just chase the big break. Love the writing, love the late night studio sessions, love the grind, because that's where real growth happens. Number 3. Surround yourself with gritty people. If your circle is filled with people who quit when it gets hard, you will do the same. But if you're around other artists, producers and mentors who keep pushing, their grit will rub off on you. Number 4. Aim to improve every day. Focus on pushing your abilities, even just a little bit, and commit to constant, never-ending improvement. Small progress, stacked daily, leads to massive growth over time. And number 5. Develop a growth mindset. In music, that means believing your abilities aren't fixed. They grow with effort. You may not have the range, the production skills, or the stage presence you want right now, but with practice and persistence, you will. A growth mindset makes every setback part of your training and not the end of the road. So, if you're chasing a music career, remember this. Talent sets the stage, but grit keeps the lights on. Be passionate, be persistent, and give your best every single day. If this helped you, drop a comment below and let me know how you are building grit in your own music journey. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives on building a real, sustainable career in music. There's something you need to hear today. And I don't want you to hear it, I want you to feel it. Because it might be the one thing standing between you and the life you have been dreaming of. The thing is simple. Just start creating. Start writing. Start recording that song. Start sketching, filming, building, designing, whatever your dream is. Just start. Because here's the truth nobody really tells you. Life goes by so incredibly fast. You blink and months are gone. You blink again and it's years. And here's the danger most people don't realize. Waiting, doubt and fear is what kills more dreams than failure ever will. Every day you wait, you're teaching yourself that your dreams can sit on the shelf. Every day you wait, you make it harder to start. You think you're buying time, but you're really wasting it. And the truth? People don't fail because they tried and lost. They fail because they waited and life passed them by. Don't let waiting be the thing that buries your dream. And in those years, you could either be sitting there saying, man, I wish I started back then. Or you could look back and say, I'm so glad I began, even when I wasn't ready, even when it wasn't perfect. Perfection isn't the goal right now. Momentum is, action is, legacy is. And here's something you have to understand. You're never going to feel ready. You will tell yourself you need more time, more skills, more confidence, more money. But that feeling of being fully ready, it doesn't exist. Every creator, every entrepreneur, every musician, every dream chaser you admire, they all started before they felt ready. They learned as they went. They grew along the way. And that's how it works. You don't wait to feel ready. You start and then you become ready. The growth, the confidence, the skills, they don't show up before you begin. They show up because you begin. That song sitting in your laptop, just put it out. That business idea you've been overthinking, start building it. That skill you've always wanted to learn, open YouTube, open a course and learn it today. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the perfect time. There is no perfect time. There's only right now. And I don't want to sound dramatic, but hear me. It can all be over before you know it. Tomorrow isn't promised. Next year isn't guaranteed. So why hold back? Why silence your own voice? Why keep your best self locked up in your head when the world is waiting to see it, hear it, or feel it? Start building that catalog. Start building that portfolio. Start building that legacy. Because every masterpiece began as a rough sketch. Every hit song began as a messy voice note. Every business empire began as a single step. And yours will too, but only if you start. So this is your sign. This is your wake-up call. Don't wait. Don't doubt. Don't hold back. Start today. Start scared. Start small, but just start. Because your best life, it's not something far away. It's waiting on the other side of your first step. So go. Start. Live it. Build it. Be it. Let's go. There will be days when you feel invisible. When nobody's watching. Nobody applauding. When you're exhausted. Questioning whether any of this is worth it. Those are the hardest days. And they're also the most important days. Because success isn't built in the spotlight. It's built in the shadows. It's built when you just keep swimming. Today I want to share 5 lessons that every creator, producer, YouTuber, entrepreneur, basically anyone chasing a dream, needs to hear when they feel like giving up. Lesson number 1. The silent work matters. Nobody claps for practice. Nobody cheers when you're grinding behind the scenes, but that's where greatness is made. Think about it. The producer spending years in their bedroom, building beats nobody has heard yet. The YouTuber editing videos that barely crack 50 views. The entrepreneur sketching out product ideas that no one believes in yet. It feels invisible. But every stroke in the water moves you closer to the shore. The takeaway is this. Don't measure your progress in the beginning by applause. Measure it by effort. Lesson number 2. Consistency beats inspiration. Motivation comes and goes. Inspiration is a spark. But consistency, showing up when you're tired, bored or frustrated, that's what builds momentum. Real momentum. Every day you show up, you're stacking bricks. One new beat, one new upload, one client call, one small step forward. Tiny actions compound. Think about your favorite YouTuber, your favorite producer, your favorite founder. They didn't arrive, they built, brick by brick, stroke by stroke. The takeaway is this: don't wait to feel like it, do it anyway. Lesson number 3. Nobody's watching, yet. This is the hardest one to accept. When you're just starting, or even years in, it feels like no one cares. The views trickle in, the beats sit on your hard drive, the business feels like it's standing still, but that's just how it works. Nobody sees the seed in the soil. They only notice the tree once it breaks the ground. So don't be fooled by silence. Just because no one's clapping doesn't mean no one is coming. The work you're doing today may not pay off tomorrow, but eventually it will. The takeaway is this: silence is not failure, it's preparation. Lesson number 4. The hardest days are the real test. Anybody can work when it's easy. When your track finally gets attention, when your video takes off, when sales are flowing in, that's when momentum feels natural. But real growth happens on the hard days. When your upload flops, when nobody downloads your music, when your product launch falls flat, that's when most people quit. That's when the water feels too heavy. But if you push through, that's when you become unstoppable. The takeaway is this: hard days aren't roadblocks, they're training grounds. Lesson number 5. Progress is quiet until it isn't. Success rarely announces itself ahead of time. It's quiet, subtle, invisible, until one day it explodes. That overnight success story? It's never overnight. It's built on years of unseen uploads, unshared beats, and unnoticed ideas. Your job isn't to predict when it will happen. Your job is to keep swimming until it does. The takeaway is this: trust the process, not the timeline. So when you're tired, when you're questioning yourself, when it feels like no one sees you, remember this: the applause comes later. The results come later. The recognition comes later. But right now, your only job is simple. Just keep creating. Just keep producing. Just keep building. Just keep going. Just keep swimming. See you in the next one.